welcome to another episode of From the Wheelhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have one of my dear friends, a very special guest. Captain Ken Harris, 100-ton captain. Welcome to the show.
Good to meet you. Good to see you, Captain Mark.
You know, I'm so happy because I have this guy, but I've been wanting to tell him about these blue blockers that I wear. I've been wanting to tell him something because we both work for a number of owners that we have in common. But one of them, and I'm not going to tell you who he is, one of them tells me, Ken, he asked me to come down and start his sailboat. Well, there was something wrong with the ignition, all types of wires. I opened the boat up, and I'm looking at all of these wires. It looks like spaghetti. He says, no, it's no problem at all. All you have to do is take the blue wire and touch it to the white wire. She'll start right up for you. I said, oh, man, wait a minute. I'm not that kind of captain he says, no, honestly, just a little ignition problem. So I look, I look. I can't find a blue wire anywhere. Sir, there's no blue wires. I'm on the phone with him. He's saying, look, there's a couple of blue wires, but you can't miss it. And he's trying to guide me to it, But I still see no blue wires anywhere. And finally, I get frustrated with him and tell him, I'm not going to drive this kind of boat. This is actually for some of the lower level captains. I started sticking my nose up in the air a little bit. I said, I don't drive this type of boat and all of this. And he says, you must be an idiot if you can't see the blue wire and stuff. And I got so frustrated, I took my glasses off. And right away, everything that was blue was magnified. I had been wearing these blue blockers.
Yes. I actually wear those a lot when I'm driving at night. I do a lot of night driving. They help cut the glare.
Yeah, that's where I had it on this evening. But I had to really apologize to that guy. He said, oh, man.
That's funny.
Because I took a look at it. I said, you mean that blue wire? He said, I've been telling you for 20 minutes.
You could see the blue with the yellow.
Right. But as soon as I saw the spark, I found another problem. Said, no, I'm not driving this kind of boat. Welcome again to the show. Captain Ken, you and I have seen each other over the lakefront, at many of the harbors. And as I've said earlier, we work for some of the same people and same companies.
Absolutely.
But tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into boating?
Well, I was introduced to boating at an early age. My uncle's best friend had a boat down in the Inner Harbor. I always knew about it. It's a funny story.
Inner Harbor?
Yeah, in the Inner Harbor. Jackson Park Inner Harbor.
Jackson Park Inner.
And funny thing is, I always knew my rich Uncle Bob had a boat, but I never got on the boat. And one day, I was going to get on the boat, and I was so excited because I was like 8 years old. We're going to get a boat, and we got down there, and the boat was gone. Okay, but it was before cell phones, so we didn't know that the boat was just around the corner getting gas.
Really?
And so it wasn't until I was probably 19 or 20 years old that I actually got on the boat and loved it. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s that I actually started showing up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Correct.
I've seen you down at Jackson Park. Every event that I've been down there, I've seen you handling the sound, the entertainment, making sure everyone has a great time. What is it that you really do with Jackson Park Yacht Club today? And it's right across the street from Larabita Hospital. Am I calling it right? Larabita?
Larabita.
Larabita
Children's Hospital.
Larabita Children's.
Yeah, well, Larabita and Jackson Park Yacht Club are on that peninsula together. They've been there both about 125 years, 27 years. Yes.
Really?
Jackson Park Yacht Club is one of the oldest yacht clubs in the city. It was established in 1896. 3 years after the end of the World's Fair.
World's Fair.
Yes, and so I joined the club about 20 years ago, And I had background in entertainment. I had a degree in entertainment management, and I had been promoting comedy for years. So when I got involved in the yacht club, they needed entertainment, and I thought that was a great spot for me. So I ended up being the entertainment chair there, which I was for the last 20 years. I have been on the board for the last 20 years, and I'm currently the Vice Commodore at
That's right. I heard that they elected you as the Vice Commodore, which means the next year you're going to be the Commodore. Now, who's the current Commodore?
The current Commodore is a person by the name of Marlon Harvey.
Marlon Harvey. He's an attorney.
No, Marlon is a retired cop.
A retired cop attorney. What's the difference? Sorry, Marlon.
Depends on which side of the court you're
Right. They all work together. They all work together for sure. But the Jackson Park Harbor it has two different parts to it. And you mentioned inner and outer harbor. Tell us about that harbor and how some people would love to get into the inner harbor but can't. Something about a bridge?
Yes. So in Jackson Park there, if you've been there, you'll notice that there are two harbors. One sits on either side of Lakeshore Drive. So one is the outer harbor, is the one toward the lake, and you can come right off the lake into that harbor if you're boating. But the inner harbor is actually within Jackson Park itself by the golf course. So you'll need to go through Jackson Park Outer Harbor and under the bridge, which goes underneath Lakeshore Drive into Jackson Park Inner Harbor, and that is a powerboat harbor only because it's a bridge. You can't get the sails under there.
Okay,
and it's about to be a small boat harbor.
Small boat harbor,
small boat harbor because. With the lake levels, they rose a few years ago, and they lost a lot of boaters because some of the larger boats were not able to get under that bridge.
Well, the Chicago system, I understand, has 10 harbors. And we're going to play a game real quick.
Okay.
I do this with a lot of my guests, okay? There are 10 harbors, and we're gonna start from Jackson Park Inner Harbor, and we're going to go through all of the harbors. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us, I'm seated with one of the greatest captains that there is. This is Captain Ken Harris. A lot of people look up to him. A lot of students have learned from him, and he's made a lot of captains. And I'm telling you, you need to dial into some of the things that he's going to tell you. Grab a pen because he's going to give you some contact information for the Jackson Park Yacht Club and telling you about some of the programs, the training programs and lessons that is taught right there at Jackson Park. But let's play the game. Okay. We start with Jackson Park Inner. What's the next one?
Jackson Park Outer.
Okay. After Jackson Park Outer is 59th Street.
That's correct. Going north.
Okay, we're going all the way north. Yes. Okay, what's after 59th?
That would be 31st Street Harbor.
Okay, after 31st Street Harbor is
Burnham.
No, it's my turn. Burnham. Okay, what's after Burnham?
Monroe.
And what's after Monroe is DuSable.
That's correct.
Okay.
One of the newest harbors in the city.
What's after DuSable?
Right. DuSable would be Diversey.
Diversey. Oh, another one of those with the little bridge that you got to be able to get under with a stoplight. If you don't watch those stoplights, you're in big trouble trying to get in and out of that harbor.
Because it's so narrow, you can't get two boats in. It's narrow and a blind spot.
And an S-turn.
Yes, so you can't get two boats in there, in and out at the same time.
You have to be a bad mofo, or you have to either travel to the east to be able to know what I'm talking about. After Diversey Harbor is Belmont.
Yes, I sail out of there many days.
Okay, after Belmont?
Montrose.
Montrose. So we've been through all 10 harbors. And you are the first person. You're the first person, and I'm talking about that's a lot of people on this. You're the first person to have no problem playing the game with me.
Oh, that's funny. That's because, I have sailed out of all of those harbors.
Well, he just said something very important there, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. good captain that wants to make a living, then yes, you can make a very handsome, livable wage. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you that the maritime industry is wide open. Even if you have a background, even if you've made a couple of mistakes in your life, you can still get in the maritime industry. I'm not sure where I'm going with all of this, but I do know I'm interested to find out about the kind of boats that you were driving, because that you have driven and you have piloted, because I saw you on the Chicago River once driving the big boats.
Yeah, I've driven everything from bugs, which are little dinghy sailors that we teach 8-year-olds at the club. So down at Jackson Park Yacht Club, we have a youth sailing day camp where we teach 8 to 16-year-olds camp. So
really?
I've taught those kids sailing, and I've driven those boats. So those are small bugs and boats that we call they're about the 12-foot boats.
Those skiffs.
Yes, I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah,
of that. It'll come to me in a second.
They're scary skiffs.
They're called 420s. They're about
They're little bitty boats that scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, and then through there, I started sailing, so about 40-foot sailing yachts. I've done all the sailboat races.
And you've done the training of these young people. I understand.
Yeah, 3 years.
I understand that at Jackson Park Yacht Club that they're associated with and have the doors open to the Sea Scouts.
Yes, we have a Sea Scout program.
How does a person get involved with the Sea Scouts? What are the requirements? And get ready. He's going to give you some contact information. Okay.
Well, the Sea Scouts, you can go online and look for the Sea Scouts and find your local troop, but there is a Sea Scout troop in most of the harbors in the city. We do have one at Jackson Park Yacht Club. You can either reach out to the Sea Scouts directly themselves. They're our arm of the Boy Scouts. Just look up Sea Scouts, or you can contact us at Jackson Park Yacht Club for our Sea Scout program, and that would be jacksonparkyachtclub.org.
When does it start? What time of the year?
Well, the Sea Scout program, primarily what they do their work in the summertime, but the good Sea Scout programs have, kind of like the Boy Scouts, they have something that they're doing, teaching the kids at all times, not training.
Okay, well, boating and scouting sounds like it's for the good. You know what kind of kids?
No, absolutely not.
You'll take some knuckleheads and make them into sailors.
Absolutely.
What about the little girls? Do they get to get some training also?
Well, our youth sailing program and our Sea Scout program is full of young ladies. As a matter of fact, one of our young Sea Scouts who started when she was about 8 years old, just graduated from college, and is now back as a member with her own boat at.
And she's teaching. I've seen her.
Yes, absolutely.
She's teaching the young people, folks. If you've just joined us, I want to make sure that you know that I'm seated next to one of the greatest captains that there ever was on Lake Michigan, of any of its tributaries, all the rivers and stuff. And this guy knows exactly how to do it, but he knows how to train and bring other people into the business. I've seen him do it. How does a person get in touch with the Jackson Park Yacht Club? What's the website?
It's jacksonparkyachtclub.org.
That's too hard. Say it again.
jacksonparkyachtclub.org.
.org. Okay. Yes. And is there a phone number? Say it twice.
I don't know the phone number.
Okay,
the best way to reach us is through Jackson Park Yacht Club. All of our information is there. You can reach us directly through the email address that will be listed on the website, and our contact phone information is there.
And if you were just too lazy to grab an ink pen, if you're just too slow to write it down, because the guy thinks and talks very fast, there's my email address at the bottom of the screen. You can write me. I promise I'll answer your emails, and I promise I'll get right back with you and get you hooked up with the great Captain Ken Harris. Now, Captain Harris, I want to talk briefly about a project that you and I worked on a couple of months ago.
Yes.
When we lost one of our mentors, the great Captain Bill Pickney.
Yes.
And could you tell us about your relationship with Captain Pickney?
Yeah, I ended up being a friend of Captain Pickney, which is very interesting. And for those who don't know, Bill Pickney is the first man to circumnavigate the globe. I mean, sail all the way around the globe.
The first black man.
Right.
They used to say the first black American.
Yes.
But no, he's the first black man from any
Right.
country.
But to do it via the Cape, which is the Capes, which is around Cape Horn, which is the very, very dangerous parts.
The most dangerous.
But I met him later in life because he had an association with Jackson Park Yacht Club.
Yes.
And people that we know. So I got a chance to know him personally, listen to his stories, go sailing with him, and talk to him. And he was just an incredible person that people don't know. While he was a great sailor, he was also an extremely interesting man. He was a limbo dancer,
Yeah. Makeup artist.
and he was a makeup artist, and was a part of bringing black hair care products from the white companies into our community.
Through Johnson,
and some other companies through the 60s and the 70s. So that was a huge part of his life that people didn't even know. And
Well,
I got a chance
I haven't had a chance to thank you publicly, and I want to do it right now. Thank you so much for the work that you did. This man organized, and I'm talking about, it was like pulling teeth trying to fight against some of these.
Yeah.
When you're trying to help some people, sometimes it's really difficult. But this man has that leadership skill. He has the attitude to be able to get past any obstacles. Thank you so much for not only planning and organizing the event at the DuSable Museum for Captain Pickney's memorial, but it was another event that you did, and that was at the Jackson Park Yacht Club, and you hosted us there. Thank you so very much.
And we will be hosting you again next week.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, thank you. Now here's another one you want to write this down, because we're going to be talking about how to get into the boat business, how to do a boat charter safely. I'm going to be giving away some of the secrets of the business. I have really had a lot of pushback on this because some folks have quite frankly told me these newbies that's coming in here aren't worthy.
Yeah, there are a lot of paper captains out here now. They have figured out that it's an easy way to make money, and they get the licenses easy, but a lot of them don't have the experience. So
no, they don't have the experience because they don't know how to get in these harbors and get some of the work. They don't know how to go to the yacht yards and get delivery work where they can deliver yachts and then have time at the beginning of the season to move these boats around when there's not a whole lot of boat traffic. And when there's not a lot of boat traffic, this way you can really learn a lot about boats. Just imagine if you were able to rent. Just imagine if you were able to rent all types of cars and you could drive each car. And then you'd be an expert at driving cars because all of them have similarities. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that is something really, really special. How about the technology that is changing our industry? How do you feel about it?
Oh my God! So here's one of the funniest thing about the industry is that when I first got into boating, GPS didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
It did not exist. We were paper charting. We had to take hand bearings to things on shore.
What if somebody called you on the radio and said, "Help! Help! How do you find them without a GPS location?"
Well, hopefully they had to give us a GPS coordinates, and we would have to go to a chart, plot it, and then figure our way to that. But today, what's remarkable is today, you go on the boats and there's tens of thousands of dollars of equipment on some of these boats. And the best navigation equipment now is on your phone. There's an app called Navionics.
Yes.
It's kind of like Google Maps for the water. And I have on my phone navigated to Cuba from Miami.
But wait a minute, you can't get a signal out there. That's what they're saying. You can't get a signal in the middle of the ocean or the middle of the lake. How did you do that with your phone?
The GPS works, pulls the GPS signals, and you download the maps. So the maps are downloaded on the phone, and the GPS works. And as I'm saying, as a fact, I used it out in the middle of the ocean. I used it bringing boats up the Mississippi River.
That's right.
Just on my phone. As a matter of fact, coming up the Mississippi, I had 2 phones. I had one with, and you'll understand this, with one at large
Speaking
scale.
of phone, why don't you turn that so it's so off?
I did. With large scale and one small
I'm
scale.
teasing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had one on large scale and one on small scale. So what that means for the people is I had that one. I had one set on a large area of the map where I can see the turns and twists in front of me coming up the Mississippi.
That's right.
And I had one in a large scale because this large scale is smaller together because it gives you more detail. Small scale gives you more area, but it gives you less detail. So I wanted a large scale, which is a small area, because on the Mississippi, the channel moves.
Yeah.
And you can be in 30 feet of water
1 minute.
and then be in 2 feet of water in a few seconds later, because the channel in the Mississippi does not run down the center of the channel.
And the lake it can change from glassy flat
Yes.
to true horror
Yes.
in just 5 minutes. Speaking
Less.
of, we have 5 minutes left of this show.
Okay.
I want to make sure that these folks are able to get in touch with you, and so they can write you and find out more. You know, we're talking about navionics and
Yes.
GPS and finding our way around the waterways. Don't you worry about all of that, because Captain Ken, he can teach you this stuff. He can teach you how to make sure you don't get lost out there, because if you get on that lake and you go out a little bit too far, it turns to an ocean. You can't see land in
absolutely.
any direction.
Yeah. 138 miles across and 330 miles long at its widest part. When we do the MAC, for the full second day of that race, you do not see land because you're more than 60 miles from shore.
What's the Mackinac real quick?
The Mackinac race is the largest freshwater sailing race in the world. It starts right here in Chicago, out of Monroe Harbor. It goes from the full length of Lake Michigan, from Chicago to Mackinac Island. Usually takes about 72 hours or 3 days to finish that race. About 400 boats participate in that race. I've done that several times. One in a horrific storm.
It's not an easy run.
No, it isn't.
I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you this. All the years I've been out here, it's not something that I've done. I have my sailing endorsement, but I just haven't gotten out there and sailed to Mackinac Island, because I'm always doing a job for a group of people that want to follow the boats
Yes.
at the starting line, and we follow them for a few miles, and then we'll turn around and come back to the harbor so they can drink and cook and party.
Right.
You know, but meanwhile, people like you are continuing the journey on.
Yes.
333 miles.
333 miles on a sailboat. It takes about 72 hours to do that race on a sailboat. Now, that trip, so I've done that trip several times on a sailboat doing the MAC race. And as delivery captain, I've actually circumnavigated completely the state of Michigan on a boat.
Wow.
So I've started in Chicago and gone to Detroit, which is all the way up Lake Michigan, across the Straits of Michigan, all the way down Huron, through the Detroit River into Detroit.
I know who to get for my next
and
long
back.
voyage. I know who to get to have with me.
Yeah, those were both 5-day trips.
Wow,
5 days.
that is something else. I can tell you, we have so much in front of us. On March the 9th, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we'll be at Jackson Park Yacht Club. That's March the 9th. From 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we'll be there talking and teaching and learning from each other. The pros will be there. The beginners will be there. If you're interested, come on out and join us. Also, I understand the International Shipmasters are having their industry day on this week on Thursday.
Okay.
And that will be out in Alsop. You can just look up the International Shipmasters of Chicago and find out more details. We're going to be doing a meet and greet tomorrow in Alsop at a place called The Office. And I tell you, you get to meet some of the Coast Guard police officers and so forth. Everybody's out of uniform, and everybody's learning from each other in a peaceful way. Yeah. So thank you so much again.
Last thing I want to say, if you want to reach out to me, and I'm a charter boat captain, and I do charters. If you're interested in chartering a boat, bringing some friends out this summer, go to my website.
Wait. We don't sell anything here, but I can tell you this: if you want to get in touch with Captain Ken Harris, all you have to do is give me a call. give me a call or either visit my email. Send me an email. I'll plug you up with him, I promise. Until next week, folks, we'll see you then. Mama, get the coffee ready. The kid, he's on his way.